today? All right, great. This is episode 49 of the podcast. Today we are here on a Sunday night. I think end of the week or beginning of the week, however you want to look at it. For some of us, how are you doing, Steven?
I'm doing great, man. I just got back from 3 days in New York. I think we chatted a little bit about that. At 7 a.m. tomorrow, I have my MRA, so I'm kind of excited about that. And then, as you know, we have a lot of events this month. So there's a lot of pre-planning and kind of things for that. So I'm pretty excited, but at the same time, have a to-do list that's like a mile long, and we'll see how it goes. So, yeah.
Yeah, we do have a lot of shit this month. I think any month leading into Burning Man is already going to be a lot of shit. But I think we have a lot of shit even if we didn't have Burning Man.
Yep.
So
what is it? It's whatever we have will fill the space, right? Available and expand to fill the space. So,
yeah, I'm actually probably way overbooked on stuff. I'm just gonna start saying no to shit. I said no to Echo Stage this last weekend, and I really wanted to go to, but I was like, no, I can't.
You know what's funny? I have a. Do you remember my life calendar concept that I have?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a whole column that's things I said no to that year, because I have a problem with saying yes to so many things that like I actually track things I say no to, and it's actually really interesting. So I have a running list of things like that.
Yeah, and you start saying no to shit, man. God damn it.
You know what's? I feel like you say no to a lot of things, though.
I do say no to a lot of things, and I'm still backed up on shit. So I probably need to turn up. I need to double down on that. You know what I mean? I'm not executing on the strategy well enough. But you know that's. I think that'll always be the case. So you know, I'm cool with struggling with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How are things with you, man?
Let me think. I do have like this feeling of always being busy, and I think that's normal for a lot of people, but it's not that normal for me. In the grand scheme of my life, I mean, if you zoom out for like the last 5 years, I probably haven't like just felt busy all the time that often. But it's been pretty constant for like the last, I guess, like a lot of this year. So that's kind of been going on. With now being like the probably closer to the peak of it. So at all times you're like, yo, Hack, are you busy? I'll be like, yeah, I'm busy. What's up, man? So that's how my, I guess, like quarter or last quarter or whatever people track nowadays has been kind of going. So there's that.
You know what you just reminded me of, actually, that we hadn't talked about, which is our 1 week challenge was to track our time.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry, man. I was too busy to do that. I did try on certain days though, and you'll see like my day starts out and I'm tracking like the first 3 hours, and then just like whatever that big ass meeting in the middle of the day that fucks me up is, it just stops getting tracked. but I do want to run that back, and I'm actually curious if you did it, how it went on your end.
Yeah. I got a good like 4 days of tracking. But I agree. Like, let's continue it because I got a lot of value. Well, one, I adjusted my. You saw this. I sent this to you. My tracking sheet. The way that I track a lot of different markers in my life. I reformatted it into the categories of fitness, family, friends, work, dating, self, and waste, and phone usage. And even just framing it that way and logging 4 days worth was like a significant positive on my week, which is why I love these weekly challenges.
You said fitness, family, friends, work,
dating,
phone usage,
dating, self, and then waste. I've made a category for, because like, I'll be honest, I read a lot on my phone, and I also know that it's my personality type to read a bunch of random shit and accumulate random knowledge. And I haven't figured out if that's like totally waste yet or not. Like, I don't want to like say outright that that's like a waste of time. So I have a different category for waste when I know 100% that I'm just 100% wasting time. You know, if that makes sense. Like, there's like I'm procrastinating, but it may be useful in the future, and I may be like just like cultivating something that's like I don't know yet versus like 100% that's a fucking waste of time. Uh, and I also track gross phone usage, like just like straight raw hours. Um, but it, dude, honestly, just the idea of like having to reformat my Excel to have that, logging it every day, and knowing that one day I have to show it to you, like changed a lot of my behaviors. I gotta say.
No, honestly, like it was working really well for like the first like half day that I was doing it because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I just wasted another 30 minutes. I'm not gonna do that again. And then I just like, I'm like looking at like what I'm writing down. I was like, damn, it actually takes 45 minutes for me to cook some food and eat it. I always thought that shit took 15 minutes. So like a lot of stuff was like coming at me. But then like I mean, those days when it's just kind of like you got to get up early and then you're not done until like well after when you should be done.
Dude, I
Um,
had the same
I
thing.
just had like I had like two of those this week, and those are just like these like speed bumps that I just couldn't get over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what's funny? It made me think of because it's been so long since I did this kind of time accounting, and I remember I sent you this meme to you and our friend Min that it was like, hey, it's like 3:23 p.m. It's the perfect time to start something. You don't have to wait until like a round number. And like because of this time accounting, I realized that like I think from a very young age, I already had in my mind this idea that like things start on the hour and the half hour. Like TV, right? A Simpsons, every episode of a show was 30 minutes. And so you like always thought about things like, oh shoot, Simpsons comes on and then Friends and then Seinfeld, or SpongeBob is on at this time. And I found myself being like, holy shit, you were just on TikTok for 30 minutes. Like, oh damn, I was just on Instagram for 38 minutes, right? I was like, that's 8 minutes past the 30. Like, I don't know, a lot of shit started to happen, like kind of like happen in my head. So
Yo, I'm about to just throw my phone like in a trash can. I really think that might be the most um for me it because you know how we always talk about, yeah, your phone is like this, could be like a huge net positive if you use it correctly. Honestly, for me, that might be the most productive thing I do all week if I just chuck that shit in the trash
it's
can.
fucking trash, dude. I know, man. I felt the same way. I watched a TikTok where they took a Mr. Beast, the YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like released a new video on TikTok, and there's like a I will say one thing that I enjoy TikTok. There's a community of meta TikTokers where they analyze the best TikTokers, and this one YouTuber, he's a marketer. He was like, "Yo, this Mr. Beast video has 170 moments in which your brain goes, oh, what is that?" Like, and he documented every single one. Like in like a minute, there were 170 like scrolls, pans, like captions, emojis. Like it was like bum, 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 bum. And I was like, I need to throw my phone in the trash. This is fucking bullshit.
I think isn't it crazy though that like, oh my god, man, I honestly I know it sounded like a joke, but I honestly think like if I went a whole week without my phone, it might be a net positive for me. Like if I just like left my phone at home and then just like, I don't know, just every single day I went to work, no phone.
Yeah.
I could have my laptop and I could answer emails and shit and get on my Slack on there if I needed to, but just no phone. And then if I needed to get somewhere, I could just fucking MapQuest that shit, and then just remember that I can just like type in Google Maps before I leave, and I could just, oh yeah, I know how to kind of get there, and then once I get around that area, I could figure it out. Might be a slight inconvenience. I might have to pay attention. I might have to also listen to like radio. I forgot my phone like 2 weeks ago, dude, and I literally forgot my phone leaving the house, and then I remembered when I was in the driveway, but I was running late, and it was the point where if I went back in my house to get my phone, I was 100% going to be late. But if I left at that moment, I would 50% of the time make it there like right on time. And so I couldn't go back. like because I said a 50% chance. So I just drove to where I needed to be. I was still 2 minutes late, but then I didn't have my
All right,
phone. But,
you've convinced me. I'm fucking leaving my. I'm leaving my phone at home this entire week. You've convinced me. This is the evidence is too overwhelming. It's a slight inconvenience to ourselves and a slight secondary inconvenience to the people who have to work with us. And we're just like, I'm sorry, I don't have my phone, so I can't. I couldn't respond until I got back to internet.
wait, can we leave that? Wait, can you do that with your job and still be okay?
Yeah, I can be okay. I can be okay. It just means that
I think I would annoy some people.
it would be very annoying. Dude, I'm doing it. It's okay. You don't have to do it with me. I fucking. This is the devil. This is the goddamn devil. I'm pretty sure.
I did see a study, or I read it. I didn't read the study. I saw an article that referenced a study, and I only read the headline, which is, I guess, how I consume most of the studies that I cite. Uh, like the headline was like, even if you had your phone on you, or something along the lines of some study found that even if you had your phone on you but you weren't using it, then you perform worse because your phone's on you. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like subconsciously you know it's there, so it's like distracting you in a way. So even if you're not like using it.
Okay, I agree. You know what we should do? We should make stickers that are socially embarrassing. Where when you pull out your phone, like everyone see, like the sticker should be like "phones are the devil" or something, and it should be like,
I shouldn't be on my phone right
yeah,
now.
like it's so. This is the fucking devil, dude. This fucking device right here.
What's the okay? Is there like a way to do this without just having to throw away our phones?
Well, there's those like dumb phone products that are out there, you know, like the simple phones and shit. But they're like too expensive. They're not worth it. They're like,
My mom had an iPhone 7 until like a week ago, and I feel like if I had an iPhone 7, I probably wouldn't be on that shit.
sure. Oh, you know what we could do?
Just because
We could do the grayscale challenge, or I mean, I have my Apple Watch, which I bought to like get rid of my phone, and it's like it's helped a lot, but I haven't like went all the way into it. Because actually, if I have my Apple Watch, I have. It's not as bad as we're making it out to be because I still have my watch.
you have do you have the wireless
I
plan
do.
on it?
I can take calls. I can play Spotify from it. I can check the weather. I can play my Audible books. Like, if anything, the watch might be the answer. It's basically a dumb phone if you think about it.
I'm trying to think if I could get rid of my phone.
I'm going phoneless, dude. I'm doing it. I've already decided. It's the evidence is too overwhelming. Fuck this shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck.
I'll report back. I've decided.
I'm trying to think just because like I have so much shit this week that if I literally like like imagine you're going into like one of the busier weeks you've had, and you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just not gonna bring my phone into this week.
This is literally a printer right here. I have to fucking map. I will have to map quest some shit off of this printer right here.
I guess I mean I don't have to go anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
Like I mean most of like probably 90% of my travel, like I kind of know where I'm going. But there probably will be certain things that are inconvenient. Like if I get to a place, now I kind of have to like know. Like for instance, like I'm trying to think how inconvenient it would be to, let's say I drive out to my flag football game, but it gets canceled and shit, and I'm just like, all right, fuck, I could have known that shit before I left my house. But I guess if you had your Apple Watch, that would solve that.
Yeah, sure.
So you'll still be able to see messages coming through, and it'll just be really annoying to try to like send one back.
It's not too bad. I've done it before, but yeah, you can also send voice messages too. But yeah, you're right. You're right. But this will be a good primer for like Playa time because when we go there will be no phones or time and shit too. So
we're gonna have Starlink this year, dude. And Masu's gonna have like some stuff in the army.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
We should be making TikToks out there.
Oh, dude. I think I think phones are so funny. I think being aware of what it's doing to us is just too funny. I'll never not laugh. Like shit belongs to the trash.
It's too, it's too, it's like programming us, and it's doing a really fucking good job of it. But the first thing it has to do is make us
Yeah,
addicted to it,
yeah. So
and that's, I mean, that's easy to
right,
do.
right. Uh, so I've recently been on TikTok now for the past 3 weeks or so, and I consider myself like an old millennial and just like I was the last one of the last people to be on Facebook, Instagram, and everything like that. And then once I got on, I obviously used the shit out of it, as you know. But I finally got on TikTok, and TikTok's really interesting because it takes a lot of work to develop your own page. Like you have to make a whole video and a bunch of videos. So most people, it's so easy to like not make your own shit on TikTok and follow other people's shit. Because Instagram, you can take a picture of anything, or Facebook and just post it, or Twitter, you can just like write cool letters. But like with like TikTok, you actually have to make a video. Like you have to like put a bunch of clips together and put music on top of it, and like kind of put something together. Um, what so because I like for most social media, when I jump onto it, I think about making my own profile. But with TikTok, I'm like, yo, there is no way I'm making my own profile. And what's been interesting is that now that I'm engaging with other friends who have TikTok, and I share things with them, and they share things with me, there's this phrase that's come up a lot, which is, damn, I would have never seen that in my feed. Like, oh man, I don't get any of that stuff on my feed, because I'll say things like, damn, I don't know why I keep getting all of this like content on my feed. And they're like, I get none of that content. And so it's just kind of, I think, surfacing this whole algorithm, because I think TikTok is known, or infamous, I should say, for having the strongest algorithm uh, in terms of like preference, suggestions, explorations, and like adjacent interests and hobbies and personalities and stuff. So yeah, it's been kind of fun. I don't know. I gotta burn it all though. Yeah.
It is crazy how it fucking programs you, because I see this shit fucking programming me. Like I click on like one or two videos, and next thing you know, my feed is just like a bunch of Jordan Peterson shit. And he's literally just like, hey man, um, whatever he says about masculinity and shit like that. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what, that's a pretty good fucking point. You know what I mean? And then obviously, like in my head, I'm like, yeah, man, obviously A, B, C, and D, because Jordan Peterson said so. And then and that's not just the only thing, man. And after you watch a few Jordan Peterson videos, they know that I'll be getting these videos about some dude made a documentary called "What Is a Woman," and he's like, I think it was funded by the Daily Beast or whatever. So it's like a really conservative, like obviously
Yeah.
like um against like the whole gender pronoun
Yeah.
thing or whatever. And he's just interviewing people, like asking them to kind of define a woman, but obviously he's interviewing like people that are like, I guess, like pretty easy to like gotcha in a way. And then people are like, yeah man, you can't define a woman because you're not a woman. Only a woman can tell you what a woman is. And he's like, do you know what a cat is? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, but you're not a cat. And just like shit like that. And I'm like, that's like popping up on my feed, and I'm just like, man, um how does the algorithm know that I would think this is
Yeah,
interesting?
man. Isn't it so funny how like again these correlative or adjacent domains and like these kind of like mind map situations are really interesting to me, because I'll say straight up that like 80% of my feed is actually cooking stuff, because I really enjoy cooking and recipes and stuff, and they're like fast, very like high dopamine recipes, like where it's like chop 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 chop, but it's funny because like I have two. One that's like big meat eater stuff and vegan stuff, because I'm interested in both. And I'm always like curious of like the politicization of like these food things, because the meat eater creators are so different. They're like they're like the JP, like alt-right adjacent type of folks with the beards, and they're like, I smoked this brisket for 24 hours. You know what I mean? And then this vegan one is talking about like sustainability, and like they're in like their little New York apartment, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I wonder what the algorithmic value like of these for like politically charged food content is, because it's there. It's not there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I like cooking videos too.
Yeah,
I get a bunch
yeah.
of those.
But yeah, I'm it's funny because like I think we settled it so fast in this podcast. Like I'm throwing away my phone this week for sure. I'll report back. I can't. This thing is fucking evil, dude. It's fucking evil.
For sure. Are you gonna use it during Moonrise?
I'm going to go on airplane mode and take videos and shit. But I'm not going to be connected to the internet. Yeah. Like, I actually, because my sister, for example, is like really big in photography, and she had like this big clunky DSLR. And I was like, I really like the stuff that shit creates, but I will never carry that fucking big thing. And then when I realized that like your phone could do it, I bought this phone for the camera. I don't want to give that up. So I will still go with the week without the camera, but I think for special events like Moonrise, I'll go off cellular and then just take videos and stuff that may or may not get posted. But either way, I still want to capture them. So yeah.
This would be an interesting week. All right, as you do that, I will try to track how I spend
Okay.
every 30 minutes of my day, and they'll probably just be, yeah, I'm on my phone. There I go again on my phone.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty good about it today, but I feel like if you knew that, like if you know that's not an option, then
Yeah.
it changes something. You know what I mean? It's like relative to other days, I was definitely much better, but obviously there's still moments where I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna go. You know, I've been doing work for like an hour. I can go look at my
Yeah.
phone for like, you know, like 10 minutes, and then. But if there was no option, then I'd do something
You
else.
just reminded me of this one TikToker. So remember last week we were talking a little bit about, I think, the power of accountability and just being completely transparent, and how like if you were able to randomly call me at a certain time of day and I had to pick up the FaceTime, like chances are you might see me laying on my side with my phone in my face like this. And it would be so embarrassing to like have you see me that way. But I found this one TikToker. He's amazing. He's actually from the DMV area, but he films himself laying on his side in his bed like this with the blankets around him on a pillow. And he tells you the whole point of the TikTok. Like he's like, he watches TikToks and he tells you like the so what of the TikTok. He's like, she tried 2 foods. She liked this one more. Or like, so you know, because it's funny because he shows like the first 2 to 3 seconds of the TikTok, and it's really compelling, right? And then it cuts to him laying in bed, being like, giving the spoiler, like, you know, yeah, they pranked them and do this. It was okay, like, yeah. But
I wonder if have you seen the
yeah,
Truman Show?
it's a great movie.
I feel like somebody could do that, like now. Like they could like just put cameras all over their house and then just like set up their own reality TV show, where for every second of the day, you know what this one person's doing, and then they could probably get famous on TikTok doing that shit. Where it's just like, as long as they're cool with like, you know, just, hey, look, I'm gonna abandon my privacy, like, you know, you can read all my text messages and all that shit too. I think that'd be an interesting social experiment that I would never take a part of, but it'd be cool to see someone that's like, yeah, you know what, I'd be down to do that. Like, imagine if I was like, you know what, I'm literally just okay with anyone reading my text messages. I'm sure I could set it up on a website somewhere where anytime I text or message somebody, it comes back that way. I can set up cameras in my apartment, every single angle, you know, and then people can just tune in.
That's better. That's better than a lot of winning the lotto, man. Honestly, if you were in a position where you wanted to, I totally agree. If you wanted to skyrocket to the top, I think a modern day Truman Show would be your ticket. I think people would be you get a lot of eyeballs on that for sure.
The thing is, you
No,
can't go
you
back from
can't.
it though. Like once the cat's out of the bag, like once shit goes viral, there's no going back to having I guess an anonymous
Yeah,
life. I
that would
guess.
be a great movie if we were like screenwriters, right, or producers. That would be a fun thing to produce, right? Like just a small series where someone gives up their entire right to privacy, and obviously they have to have like a moderately interesting life. But I am optimistic that like even a moderately interesting person would be able to generate so much like a good amount of engagement and intrigue. You know, if you let everyone watch them.
There there probably also has to be like a certain because there's multiple people that can be successful doing this. Like obviously like like I'm like an Asian dude in my late 30s, right? But imagine like if like a 18-year-old, I don't know,
Yeah.
high school girl did this shit, or like like I don't know, even some people be into watching like like my mom. If
Yeah.
someone like my mom did this shit, or just like any path of life that you never would normally get like a view into.
Have you heard of Omegle?
Um,
Omegle?
is that
Yeah.
the
It's
is
like
that
a
like the chat
random.
thing?
It connects you to a
Is it
random
like
person.
yeah? I think I've seen that it's like a
Yeah.
chat roulette type
I imagine like a
situation.
website portal where you log in, right? InTheLifeOf.com, and you type the first drop down has like gender, second drop down has like race, third drop down has profession or whatever, whatever, et cetera, and then you hit like connect me, whatever, and then it shows you the fucking Truman Show of that person's life. Like it's like 50 something year old Vietnamese Asian woman mom, and then like you hit yes, and and it plugs into your mom's like fucking thing. Like people will fucking be down with that shit.
Is is that what people do though? Like when you're like an influencer, where like the main brand is yourself, that's what they're kind of doing, right? Except for they're curating a lot of like the
Yep,
content that they put out
it
there.
is.
I mean,
Yeah, it is what they
damn,
do,
that's
but it's
crazy.
curated to your point and aesthetic. And what I've been interested in is I've been thinking a lot about Gen Z, how's their culture and their aesthetic. Because this is the first year of my life I really feel like I can no longer try to act like I'm young, like because Gen Z is just too different. And I think one marked difference with Gen Z versus millennials is that millennials still care about aesthetic and like coming off as if they've got their shit together. And yeah, we make self-deprecating jokes and stuff like that, but not like Gen Z. Gen Z wants it really raw, but they keep it separate. Like the Finsta, the fake Instagram, like Gen Z
Hmm.
simultaneously has a public persona in which like they're extremely famous or whatever, but then they have this like private persona that's not aesthetic at all. That's like raw, real, no curation. Like didn't do your hair, didn't put on makeup, didn't do anything. Um, and I think that's probably where like the media zeitgeist is going to go, considering the fact that like millennials were so into polish, like they were so into like showing your best foot, showing the best. Um, anyway, I just wanted to make that like social commentary. Say I want to be able to reference this pod and be like, yo, you know, I talked about this.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it because like nowadays you do have to be careful about like I think when we were growing up, nobody was thinking like digital identity in the same manner that you would be thinking about if you were like in high school right now. Uh, you know how like a lot of times athletes and NBA players always get caught, with some shit they tweeted, 14 years ago, and it's like, oh yeah, you said that at the time, and then obviously they were probably like an eighth grade or some shit, but they tweeted something dumb. Uh, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it still happens, but it's gonna happen less often because people are getting caught doing that stuff. So Gen Z, the people growing up nowadays, the people in middle school, high school nowadays, they know. Oh wait, there's a digital identity that stays with you forever, because once it's on the internet, it's on the internet, and then it's very real, and it's separate than this, like, I guess, well, I don't know if separate's the right word, but it's definitely different than how I thought about, obviously, when I was making my Xanga or my Facebook or MySpace or whatever.
Let me ask you a question, for example, right? Heck, I want to go see a baby picture of you. No, forget baby picture. I want to see a baby video of you. Can you get it to me? Where is it? See, that's the thing, right? Like, I remember for a while, like, it was like a millennial flex to have like access to your old family pictures or videos. Like I'm very privileged, right? My dad took a bunch of VHSs of us as kids and took pictures. So I remember it's like I have the privilege of actually like probably going downstairs trying to dig through some cardboard box and finding like something, like a vestige of that point in time in the 90s, right? But I do acknowledge, I've always acknowledged that like that's a huge thing. Like not everyone is going to have access to like a baby picture of themselves. I can post a baby picture of myself, but Gen Z won't have that problem. Like you see and even the generation after Gen Z, right? Like their entire life, like their parents were like, oh my God, like here, look right here, like they'd be surrounded by 10 adults with like these black rectangles, like pointing at them. Like they will never have a problem of like, I wonder what I was like at 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, that like, I will know exactly like what I was at that time. Like everyone knew what I was at that time, like there's a pristine record of their before they had memories.
Yeah, digital, how things are going. And I mean, I don't know. It feels like, I don't want to sound too much like a boomer, but like, I do think it's still evolving too. And I don't know what it's going to look like in like 10 years and stuff, but that would be crazy to do like a Truman Show thing. You could probably get, well, I don't know, man. So the reason I even brought that up was because earlier we're talking about how, you track every 30 minutes, and then you were like, well, if we made it so we could like call each other FaceTime 3 times a day, and then we have to pick it up. Imagine if there was no second of the day when a camera wasn't on you. Then at some point, either you stop giving a fuck, where you're like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna lay here on my phone for 4 hours. It doesn't matter. Enjoy the show, guys. Or you just gotta be like, all right, can't look like a bitch in front of these people that are watching me. And then your whole life is just like, there's just like this thing literally watching you.
So this is a Jordan Peterson thing too, by the way, that you just made me think of. He has a mythology lecture series where he talks about like this stuff, and he talks about like the role that women have in a men's life is actually synonymous with the watcher, which you just talked about, where like women, for a lot of mythological reasons, represent what you're talking about, where they are watching you, and therefore it causes men to like act as if they're being watched all the time, versus when they're not being watched all the time. And that's what it means to like situate yourself in a partnership with a like, with a woman. And again, Jordan Peterson's fucking crazy. I am no longer anywhere close to that dude. I have that dude's fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. But anyway, he has some old lecture series that are interesting. And I think that the history, the anthropological underpinnings of like feminine and masculinity, like I think are super interesting. That's one of the things that he talked about, like, because if men don't have that, they get Peter Pan syndrome. The whole Peter Pan story, where he's in Neverland where everyone's kids, and he's escaping from time and the crocodile, and he never wants to grow up and shit. But when you add the feminine presence, all of a sudden you're being watched now, and you can't you can't be on your phone 4 hours, bro. You gotta take out the trash.
That is interesting. Never thought of it like that.
That's why our entire society. I know it's like a boomer joke of like being just like being upset with like being annoyed by your nagging wife, you know, and how men are dumb. Like men are dumb and they hate being nagged, but they need to be nagged in order to even like grow out of their immaturity. Like that's the fucking, you know, that's the cliche, you know. There's whole shows like on it, right? Like if you look at the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, every fucking sitcom was that that was the basis of it. Like dumb husband, like annoyed wife who was like trying to hold the family together because they just think deeper about and do more emotional labor.
Hmm. Yeah, that. Dude, I can't wait till someone has a Truman Show so I can watch them.
It would be
I just
really
wanna see
funny.
how it goes.
I can't believe there isn't one. I feel like
It'll probably be, honestly, maybe it'll just be fucking boring as shit. It'll probably just be one of those things where it's like, yo, I just want to see the fucking highlights, and then the highlights are like what influencers do, where they just curate a bunch of like cool shit that they do, and then like the 97% of the rest of their life is probably not cool shit, or it's like a Kardashian situation, but like that's obviously like very curated as well.
Yeah,
but it has to be in a way. I guess that's what it is, right? The Kardashians.
I'm gonna call it right now, dude.
Show.
What you're saying, something is going to capitalize and monetize off of that. Because over the pandemic, I found about this show called Terrace House. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's a Japanese show. It's a Japanese reality TV show that is very similar to what you're talking about. They put 6 strangers, 3 guys and 3 girls in a house, like 20 to 30-year-olds in Tokyo and various parts of Japan. And rather than try to create this crazy reality TV show where there's like hookups and drama and whatever, they don't do anything. They just say, hey, we're giving you a house, just live in it. And you can leave whenever you want. You can stay however you want. And it's very Truman Show-like, actually. And there's no drama. It's actually like super normal for most of it. Yet it's extremely popular. And I think it's extremely popular for the reasons that you mentioned. Now, as it got more popular and the seasons increased, I think that some of that mirage went away because they started to realize, like, look, there's no way it's like completely authentic. There's still camera people. I think it was like the camera people only showed up once a week, whatever, something like that. But they started to realize, it's still superficial. So, man, if I was like a marketing person, like a marketing exec, I would bet on something like that hitting pretty hard because there's already good signals for it.
You can't. The thing with Truman Show is he was born into the studio, and the whole thing was a studio, so he had no idea who was being watched. Which obviously
he's in a simulation. He was the Matrix. Authentic. He was in a simulation.
Right, but in the case of, you know, like even the Terrace House show, where you know, it's just like, hey, look, there's just gonna be cameras, so you can stay in the house as long as you want, leave whenever you want. It doesn't matter. Just you know, just whatever. There's still cameras, and then you know the fact that you know that there's cameras changes how you act, and then it's like you know, not authentic. But it's more authentic than like, you know, something that's produced further where you know they're trying to elicit people to, like, you know.
All right, before I throw my phone away, for the next 24 hours, I'm going to record my life as if it was a Truman Show on my Instagram. Starting at 7:30, I have to go show up for my MRI. But that's what influencers do. Yeah.
That'd be funny. Yo, you think? I wonder what would happen if I just like started posting shit that I do during my day. It would just be like 7:15. Yeah, just snooze my alarm, and then went back to sleep at 9:30. Oh yeah, got another 2 hours of sleep. I have a meeting at 10 o'clock that I'm not ready for, but here we go, guys.
Oh my god, dude.
It'll probably be a lot of that shit. And then you'll see me like trying to do work, and then I'll be like, all right, I have 1 hour to finish this shit that takes 10 hours to do. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah. And then 2 hours later, I post another video. Did not do it well this time. Hope nothing bad happens.
Oh, man. I think it'd be. I mean, if you could pull like, it's about how honest you think you could be. You know, like I think I do well at work. I mean, I'm doing. There's no reason to think that I'm not a great worker, but my bed is right there. And if I fucking did what you just said, it'd be so funny. Oh my god.
I'm pretty good at finding ways to distract myself. I'd be like, you know what? I haven't seen Leo in a couple of hours. I'm gonna go play with that dude. And I go upstairs. He's watching like YouTube and shit. I'm like, hey, Leo, you want to go back? And he's like, no. and then I'm like,
entertain me. Oh my god. Oh god, that's a funny idea, dude. Funny. Oh my god. And it's fun. And I think I said this last pod, but like we act as if this is not true of all of us. You know, like forget. Like, okay, so one end is like record and broadcast everything that you do because it's really funny how fucking hilarious our actual day-to-day moment by moment life is if someone was watching every waking moment. But the other side is like we all know it's like that, yet we act as if like we engage with the persona. It's like, oh yeah, you did all this work to show me, like to hide all of this like shit in the background and show me this like presentable side. So I'm gonna do you a solid and engage you with that version instead of like knowing that we're all pieces of shit behind the scenes.
You think? I mean, there's probably some people that aren't.
They got like, something just, though.
You know, on their phone for 4 hours a day, right?
They got something. Everyone's got some piece of shit, man. For sure. Except maybe, yeah. Everyone's got something. Everyone's got something.
All right, well,
same man.
My thing is
oh my god, that's why when we did the challenge of having to record our phone usage, our time usage, or phone usage, it instantly made me better because the amount of time I used my phone, I was like, holy shit, I'm not gonna log a fucking like another like, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour day on my phone, 9 hour day on my phone.
Oh man. Damn, the phone's a crazy fucking invention. I need to get off that shit too. That shit is probably like as, you know how like people look back on it and they're like, I can't believe smoking cigarettes was like a thing everyone just did. And, you know, obviously there's a bunch of shit that, you know, looking back, yeah, can you believe they did that shit? I wonder if phones will ever get to that point. Where it's like, obviously we're being fucking brainwashed by this little device that we're sticking on our faces. Like, I mean, it literally is what it looks like. You know what I mean? You're taking in this thing that's like getting blasted into your brain for hours on end, day after day, and it affects how you think, how you feel, what you believe, and like all this stuff. And I guess you could be intentional about it if you control, like, you know, the stuff that's going in. But how many people are actually intentional about it?
Look, I want to say yes. Like, I want to agree with you and say yes. Like the phone was a next level detriment to humanity, right? Like it was like unprecedented that we would have this much fucking of a fire hose beamed into our fucking face, right? But then I think about like, honestly, dude, and I'm outing myself here. When I grew up around TV, me and my sister, we fucking just stared at that TV like zombies, you know? like we would watch an entire fucking like afternoon, like especially summer vacation. Like when we were on summer break and my parents both had to work or something, or they'd be out of the house. Like man, we would watch like SpongeBob marathons or something, and it was very similar, you know. Like it was honestly very similar when I look back on it. Like we were glued. And I know there's been movies like I don't know if you've seen Requiem for a Dream, uh, where they talk about like sitting in front of a TV and your eyes just fucking glazing over, and like you know Home Shopping Network and like Fox News, like just shit, just fucking like the TV itself was pretty bad, you know. Radio, it,
until
right
until something more powerful
yeah.
like came along. Radio into TV, and then TV into your parents got you a computer, and then you're like, you know, on there playing like games and shit. And now it's like the computer's in your pocket. I don't ascribe to that the phone will be detrimental, you know, to society, because I do think it's a lot of like net positive stuff as well. But it's like, how aware are we in terms of
I think
what it's actually doing?
I think maybe going back, it's probably the algorithm. That's probably the X factor to this, you know? Like when we watch TV or other forms of media, we still didn't get the fucking ultra curated like feed of things only for us. You know, you and I, we go to channel 16. You know, whatever in channel 16 is on channel 16. But imagine if we went to channel 16 and it was our channel 16. That's probably where the gap like where it starts to like get very scary. So I agree with you. I'm honestly kind of just having like a back and forth conversation out loud, but I definitely agree with you. Like phones are unprecedented, and curated feeds are unprecedented.
Yeah, I need to find some better habits around my phone, because I think obviously there's a lot of positive shit, right? But for sure, man, you can't just ignore the fact that sometimes it should just like literally makes you waste time. Right? I mean, like, you can't just ignore the fact that once in a while you might get caught for like a 5 hour like time sink, you know, and you're just like, oh shit, I guess that there goes a third of my waking hours for the day.
Yeah, I know. I like that you use the word a third, because my tracking mechanism is it's always a percentage of 16, because let's say 8 hours of sleep, you get 16 left. And so I just have percentages that are running based off of like, numerator over 16. Percentages are very good for causing you to like confront your bullshit, for sure.
I wonder if it'd be better to just
dude, 100%. You know how we had a challenge once where like every minute that you're on your phone, you had to spend that minute meditating. The create versus consume ratio is it's a very well talked about one, which is like, you should be spending way more time creating whatever it is. Like consume to the degree that you need inspiration. But if that gets lopsided and you're not creating, then it's wrong. It's off. Yeah. Yeah. Same with like, are you going to eat burgers, or are you going to make your own burgers and then eat them? Dude. You know? Okay. You want to see my percentages for like 4 days worth of tracking? Let's see. All right. Let's see. I'll just read them out.
That'd be dope.
Pulling it up right now. Okay. All right. So it's funny because I also tracked some of my stuff from Fight Camp. But anyway, because I got my injured knee, I have 1% on fitness, 19% with family, 24% with friends, 15% with work, 20% with dating, 7% on myself, and 14% wasted, with an average of 6 hours on my phone a day. That's my 4-day running average. The highest is friends over the
What was
past
the
week.
highest?
24 with friends.
You said 20.
Was
there anything that stood out with those numbers? Like, did you?
Well,
were you like, holy shit?
I built the
14% of
spreadsheet
my
to be
day.
very chill, like not that harsh. So nothing was surprising because I knew that it's a full rolling total. It's a full average. So, for example, I knew that if there's a spike, it's only because I only have like 4 data points, and I know that last week I spent a lot more time with friends than I did doing anything else. So nothing came out that was super big. But what I want to do is, I think maybe after a month worth, I'm going to look at it and be like, I think I need at least a month to like see if the percentage was too high or too low. I know that also for the first 2 quarters of this year, I spent a lot of time with family, and I was really burnt out dealing with my family. So I started to pivot to other things. So it's like there's a lot of context to things, you know. Like my family percentage was like really low for a bit because I was like,
yeah,
right now I can't. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But I'm gonna keep this up for the rest of the year. I think I'm really excited because I think it's changing my behaviors a lot.
Did you get a chance to read that or listen to that podcast I sent you with that dude? What's his name?
Oh, did you send me the pod?
Diedrich,
I didn't listen to it yet.
I think I sent you a YouTube of it or whatever. He's the guy from that MTV show.
Yeah, he has a couple.
Big Rob or whatever. Or what's the name of that
Big
show?
Rob. I don't know. There's one that got him really famous first, and then he did Fantasy Factory after that one. And then he obviously did like Ridiculousness and shit. Yeah, but I read the Google Doc.
It's crazy.
That was amazing.
Every minute of his
that
day.
Google Doc was like
it's just
super sick. Yeah, that Google Doc was sick. I felt
like
an affinity, like a very strong like attraction to the words there. I'm really go ahead.
No, that was cool because when you were talking about like because when we first started talking about tracking every 30-minute block of our day, like I think it resonated with you like a whole lot, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna put in my spreadsheet and all that stuff. So it reminded me of like this guy that obviously does that, and he says it really helped him, and obviously he's like a super successful like billionaire dude. So
yeah, I'm really curious because I've been also trying to figure out 2 parts of my identity. Like one part of me is like biohacker, hyper optimizer type stuff, and like chasing productivity. But the other half of me is just like lazy hippie, and I'm trying to figure out how to integrate those 2 pieces. Because when you're like lazy hippie artist type, sometimes you do nothing for like hours, and then all of a sudden inspiration hits, and then you like hyper focus for 2 hours. You know, like I think a lot of knowledge work falls into that category, and that's why there's been more books about like emptiness and stillness and space as ways of unlocking more productivity. But I think I'm definitely more on that side of the spectrum where I have to like not do something, like I have to do 0 for an amount of time in order to like hit like a 200% productivity spike, and I can't really quantify it yet. But I'm curious about it, you know, and I can't replicate it in a systematic way. Right now, it's just feeling like whether or not I want to like do nothing and be lazy and say fuck off on my shit or not, you know. So
yes, it's funny. I wonder about what I'll be like if I had like a real fucking job.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Probably pretty good at
I
finding
think back
shortcuts.
about. I think what's really funny is that like now that so here's the funny thing that this is a bit of a tangent jump, but um, there are a couple of people or relationships or friend like that I have now as a 33-year-old, right? And I meet people and I'm like, oh damn, you were definitely like a jock in high school or something, or you're definitely like a bully, or you're definitely like the fucking like hot girl or something, right? And I'm just like, or I'm just like, yeah, we would never have talked in high school or some shit, like you know what I mean? So you just realize like none of that shit really mattered. Like I think about how like I'm working with like 5 people on my team and they probably had really great GPAs, but like I didn't even break three, and like I had to like cheat my way through a bunch of classes, and sometimes I let it slip to them that like we didn't have the same fucking like strategy through life in school, you know. Um, but it doesn't matter anymore, like it doesn't really uh I don't know. Yeah.
It just it matters if you can find a way to make it fit or not. And if you can't find a way to make it fit, then it does matter. But if you can find a way, or I'm sorry, if you can't find a way to make it fit, then it does matter. But if you can find a way to make it fit, then I think the fit is more important than the actual like GPA. Like you had like I don't know what your GPA was, but let's say you had like a 2.6, but whatever skills that you develop in getting that 2.6 makes it so that you're more desirable for this line of work that you're getting into. Then that matters more than the actual number in itself. Um, and I'm guessing there's probably some sort of correlation between
Yeah.
GPA and ability to do shit. Probably some sort. But obviously, like not in all cases is that going to be true. You're going to have some 4.0 people that are some fucking goobers
Yeah.
that
Okay,
can't
we are
make
an
a
hour
social cue
into
to
this
save their
pod,
lives,
and so this is where I'm going to start saying controversial shit, like based on what you just said. Um, so I agree with what you said, like, and I kind of came to that realization too. I was like the outcome, like it's just the results, it's just the outcome, it's just like that matters. And I think you remember me. I think you might remember me telling this to you in the past, where I started to tell myself, I was like, maybe that's why certain things should stay illegal, because it is a barrier that makes it so people have to overcome that barrier, and the people who can circumvent the rule and still come to the other side have like have proven themselves in a way, if you know what I mean. And I know this is like, man, this is some really like kind of potentially controversial shit I'm saying, like, but I'm just saying it anyway because I thought about it, right? I thought about like college. It's like there are so many rules, and the only goal was to get that piece of paper, you know, like, and when a company hires you, or when you tell people in society that you have a degree from this school, it just proved that you could get it, like, and it's the intangibles too, right? Like you were able to do your laundry by yourself and grocery shop for yourself and plan your day and study even when you didn't have to have homework that like forced you to study, and there were only 3 tests in a whole fucking like a whole fucking semester where there's only 3 grades and there were 3 tests. And so that was the real test. Like the real test was, can you get through that gauntlet? Like, can you somehow survive that fucking thing called getting a degree? And then when I looked at the laws, right, because a lot of times, like I used to be an edgy like high schooler redditor, right? And what you like to do at the times is you look at all these laws and you're like, that doesn't make sense. Like that's not that law is not rational. It's not ethical. That law is bullshit. And all these reasons why these laws don't make sense. But then I thought about it for a second. I was like, maybe that's not what the point of laws are. Like the point of laws is that in a given population or a given sample size, it is detrimental if we don't make it so that it's hard or illegal for like people to just do this thing. And even if we know that the law is not right and people are going to break it, the people that can break it have the privilege, means, wherewithal, wealth, I don't know, intelligence, charisma, attractiveness, like physical health to like resourcefulness to fucking cheat the law
Resourcefulness.
and not get dinged for it. And that's fine too. Yeah, you know, like laws are just ways of
Like,
keep maintaining order,
like
and they're not
circumvent it.
like inherently right, wrong, good, bad, logical, illogical. They're just utilitarian mechanisms, you know? Yeah,
You're talking about
yeah, I'm definitely talking about victimless crimes.
primarily victimless
Thank you
crimes.
for putting that out there. Definitely victimless.
Yeah, because it's much it's much easier to justify. Oh yeah, dude. If
Yeah,
I just
I mean,
copy this other dude's homework, it doesn't hurt anybody. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It
I
just
mean,
hurt,
I'm
it just
glad
hurts
you said
everybody
that
in the
because
class
it
just
does
like
give
little
a bit of an out, but I won't even give that because, like, you don't have to go far into victimless crime to find the victim, though, right? Like, okay, like, most millennials fucking smoked weed and tried weed, right? That probably came from a cartel. Like, oh, it's just fucking weed. Like, oh, my fucking friend is like, Jimmy is so fucking cool. He gave me this joint. I'm gonna smoke it. Like, and that's not hurting anybody. Oh, my parents were wrong. Like, and then, but then it's like, oh, this came from fucking cartel, and like this guy got his fucking like family killed, and you know, like, I'm not gonna even give myself the out in saying that like there's like victimless crimes and shit that make it okay. I mean, I guess cheating, but then like fraud. I mean, there's a bunch of like Wall Street, like Bernie Madoff types who are like, oh, I'm just like, it's a rigged system, and I'm just like, you know, but you're still talking about people who are like abjectly in poverty and dealing with real health situations and shit with children. So I don't know.
I mean, you're right. It is a
Protect the privilege
controversial take
and
to
like,
be like, hey, laws are just kind of there
yeah,
to make it to see who can break them and still get away
right,
with it. In
right,
a way, it's like a hurdle to get to the
right,
finish line,
exactly.
not a barrier that you don't try to like get around. You think all laws are like that, or you just think some laws are like that?
I think
Like, you think some laws are designed with the purpose to be like, all right, we want to see the motherfuckers that can break this shit, because
it.
that's the point of this law.
I don't think they're expressly designed. I think I'll give the lawmakers and the Illuminati the benefit of the doubt in saying that not like I'm not going to say like a majority of laws are designed to challenge people to break them, but it's the opposite. It's like it's dual purpose.
It's like dual purpose. Like, it's designed to, you know, kind of like maintain like this type of order, but also in a way for the people that can get away with it, then it's not like meant to be broken, but it's like okay that they break it as long as they can get away with it.
Yeah. And so I think that there's plenty of examples. Like, look, this is a hot take, right? And it's like, you know, I'm not at my best right now. So it's definitely a hot take. But I will say that what spawned this for me was the whole psychedelic, the second psychedelic revolution that's happening right now, right? Especially with like psychedelic assisted therapy, like psychotherapies and stuff, and people saying like, why the fuck is MDMA illegal? Why the fuck is like psilocybin illegal, right? Like, or marijuana and things like that, right? And I had to actually ask myself. I was like, okay, I've obviously been very openly exploratory with these things, and advocates for it. But then, am I really okay with saying that, like, hey, yo, go pop down to your gas station, go pop down to the local convenience store and grab yourself a tab of LSD. Am I actually okay with that? But if I wasn't okay with that, where am I coming from? Like, by saying that, as a person who has gotten a lot from it and fully explored it, right? Where am I speaking from? So I know that I just like gave a hot take that like about laws in legality in general, but what sparked it really was like thinking about substances and stuff. Exactly. That was my same. That was my thing too.
I guess the laws in itself probably did do what it needed to do in a way for some people. Like a lot of people that probably shouldn't have tried, psychedelics didn't try psychedelics because of the laws. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it is. I obviously am similar to you in terms of like understanding why rules exist and laws and such, and then knowing which ones I could shortcut my way around, and which ones I should probably not attempt to do that. So I mean, I'm in the same boat. I agree with you. It's probably a controversial take. I don't know if I can defend it beyond, my own self being benefited from it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, I think when you bring up the psychedelic example, that's a pretty good one. Because I mean, it's like there's like a fence there, and it's like, don't climb this fence. But then some people are gonna be like, you know what? I wonder what's on the other side of that fence. And then for those people, they kind of get to go on an adventure. And then for the people who don't want to climb it, then it's probably good that that fence was there in the first place. Because, if you weren't willing to like go past this barrier, then you probably.
I really like that metaphor. That imagery of the fence.
Shouldn't.
It's like a bunch of fences and signs that says don't climb over this. Like, don't go any further. Wow, you're still here? Like, you definitely shouldn't go further then. And it's for the people who like keep climbing it for some reason, And the risks are real. Like, I'm not saying those signs are right.
But that's for specifically for the psychedelic revolution though. I'm not sure about other laws though. But I think in that regard, I agree with that. It's harder to say for like other laws just because it's like after a certain point with certain laws, if people don't follow them, then there's not a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like imagine if like, I don't know, we went to UVA, right? But imagine if it was just like they didn't have any rules about the honor code and shit, right? Then it wouldn't be the same thing that it
but
is.
it's about what the collective myth is that majority of people believe in versus who's actually circumventing it. The collective myth is that we have an honor code and like self-governing student body with a one strike, like you're out of the school system, right? Like all these things, like that's the collective myth that keeps,
It is. But I'm saying like up to a certain point that has to be like things have to happen for that myth to continue.
Yeah.
Like not too many people can do this for this thing to continue. Only like, some people. And you're saying like those fence jumpers.
Right.
That's like okay.
Right. Because you ever heard of like people getting made an example of? They're like, oh shit, like that person got an extra harsh punishment because they needed to be made an example of so that there wouldn't be repeat offenders. Like there's it's shit like that, right? It's like, damn, this person really fucking undermined the foundation of this fucking idea, and we cannot let the idea like get attacked. so we're gonna fucking come out hard as fuck on this first defender, you know. Yeah, so that this person, no one will ever fucking think about trying to do what this guy did. This person did.
Right, it's like in fucking North Korea when they're like, all right.
Yeah, it's a fucking huge deterrence.
For 3 generations, we're gonna fuck up your whole family. That's just...
Yeah, and you have to do it once.
I mean, like, if they,
like,
if
you
they
remember went to Singapore
and then they don't do it, then it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, it's like, yo, you bring drugs in this country, we'll chop your fucking hand.
Oh, but there was a Mio bottle involved.
And so
you see what I mean? That's another example. Oh god.
But yeah, I don't know if that was like, I mean, it's great, but you know, I don't know if I'm trying to think if this should be celebrated or not. Well, let me think. I guess as long as the collective myth stays intact. I don't know, because if you think about it, okay, so like at HGH, for instance, right? We do have to have like certain like rules and like code of conduct and such, right? But then what do you do when someone breaks it? And also like when you do when someone breaks it, it's somebody that you like really fuck with. And then you just have to kind of be like, hey man, I'm really sorry you can't do that. But if I don't punish you, then everybody will be like, yo, what the fuck? So, you know, like there's just like a lot of, so I mean, I've been on both sides of that before. You know, and a lot of
you
times,
saw The Dark Knight,
right?
You saw The Dark Knight?
Situations, I'd be like, yeah, man, I guess.
You remember when Harvey Dent goes fucking evil and turns to Two-Face? And then Batman has to kill his ass?
Yeah.
But then he decides like, yo, I can't let everyone know that Harvey Dent became evil because Harvey Dent, the story of Harvey Dent, is a good guy. So I won't like it. Like no one has to know that he was Two-Face. Right. It's like that. It's the same fucking thing.
Right. I mean, I agree. Yeah, it is the same thing. But what does that mean to us as individuals? Like, do we just not have to follow rules?
I love this topic because last week we talked about doing the right thing when no one's looking. Like putting the shopping cart back when no one's looking. And now we're like, yo, as long as no one's looking, don't put the shopping cart back.
As long as that image of... As long as I'm like, yeah, Steven's the type of guy that puts a shopping cart back. You know, if I'm not looking, you don't put it back, and I still think that, then does that change anything? And the thing is, like, it might change something inside of you, but you, like, as an individual, you know what I'm saying? Like, where like no one knows but you, but that's the most important self narrative that's created through your actions in a way too. So I mean, so there's that whole. I mean, there's hundreds of versions of Steven, one for every person that knows you, but obviously the one that matters the most is you, right? And so if you're able to pull this off, you know, where you're thinking like you're like this fucking great dude, but you actually don't put the shopping cart back, you know, unless you're like on the fucking Truman Show or something.
That's why I long decided that I'm at the highest level of like famousness that I ever want to be for my life, and I look at like someone like Obama, and I'm like, that dude fucking. Yo, how the fuck? That dude has probably done some immoral ass shit. Like, he's still a great guy, but he's been able to compartmentalize stuff to the degree that you would almost say, like, that guy's kind of, like, sociopathic. Like, I think it's a necessary characteristic to have that much power and to have negotiated that many deals to be president of the United States that you have, like, Obama has not put the shopping cart back many times in his life. Because no one was looking. I think so. To be fucking president or a billionaire.
You think so?
Yo, he just fucking made us all believe that. I'm an Obama
The
fan.
shopping
Don't get me
cart
wrong.
back.
And, like in all the fucking sociopathic world leaders you could pick, like he's not a good bad one. But like, I just want to say that, like, for example, billionaires. You cannot be a billionaire without having this attribute. You cannot be a world leader without having this attribute of not putting the shopping cart. Yeah.
Of not putting the cart. I mean, like, obviously Trump doesn't put the fucking shopping cart back, but I feel like some of these other guys might. You actually don't think so? Like, you don't think like somebody's just like, yo, I'm just gonna be as honorable.
No,
as possible
because
and just,
politics, by
never
definition,
put a fucking
relies
cart, 'cause that's
on you
just
doing
who
the
the fuck
fucking
I am.
trolley problem, like a number of times over. You know.
Okay, but just because you do the trolley problem doesn't mean that you're bad for
Oh,
it, because it's literally
Okay, so
like
you
you're
don't
faced
put the
with
trolley
two
cart
bad
back
scenarios.
because it's
You
going to
just have
allow
go
you
pick
to
the least bad one
like
out of the two.
be better in this situation after. Like the road to hell was paved with good intentions. You know that phrase? Like, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Only people are looking. He assumes everyone is looking.
Shopping cart back.
Yeah.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as he hasn't gotten caught yet, then it's effectively the same. But yeah, I do think yeah, we have more time, then we should talk about how this
Yeah.
affects, like,
That's an
on a
interesting one too. I thought
subconscious
about that
level
as well.
in terms
Because
of-
yeah, you can't lie to your subconscious. Like that's where you brought up like your relationship and your perception of yourself is the most important. Your relationship with your subconscious is a very interesting one. I think the subconscious only understands actions and doesn't understand words. That's my short, most succinct statement on the matter. So, but yeah, we are coming up on an hour and a half. Heated, lots of laughs. Oh yeah.
we didn't have time. We didn't have time to talk about Disney princess and princesses. That was a topic for this.
Should we do a quick
Spent a
follow
lot
up
of time
pod,
on that one.
like on a
So
Wednesday
I
or
have,
some
I have
shit?
stuff preloaded in my head.
Fast follow. Yeah, I think that's a fun one. That's a really fun
do
one.
like
I
little
think.
quick ones where we're just like, all right, let's just
Disney
talk about this one
princess.
topic.
In the absence of princes, male princes. Like what? We have Kung Fu Panda. Is he a prince?
Yeah, well, I would like to present my argument better, because I
Princess,
think
yeah.
I do think that there shouldn't be Disney princess. Like, but I need to be able to say why for it to make sense, because it definitely makes sense in my head. Where I'm like, all right,
Okay.
obviously
All right.
we shouldn't just do this to include everybody. This is fucking dumb. but I need to explain it, or at least like get my words out, so I don't like look like just some
Okay.
fucking old Scrooge.
All right, sounds good.
Like,
So, within the
you can't have any
week
toys,
or
little boys.
earlier, the next topic will be. Yeah. Okay. All right.
We'll just talk about it sometime. Maybe I'll talk about it to you when I see you next. All right, I think I have
Shopping carts or don't climb the
title
fence.
for the
Yeah.
the title to
Yeah.
this pod definitely has to be something about shopping carts.
Yeah.
Yeah, something about
Yeah.
Obama
Does
putting the shopping
does
cart
Obama
back.
put the shopping
Shit,
cart
I
back
don't know.
when no one's looking? Does
All right,
yeah,
this is
something
a
like
pretty.
that.
This is a
yeah. Yeah.
don't put the shopping cart back if no one's looking.
Sounds good.
All right, I'm gonna wrap. This
Did
is
you
a
stop
great one.
pausing?
Yeah, Sunday nights hit different, bro.
Me too. Oh my god, dude. I've been telling people like
No, I didn't pause
I've
it.
been
I
telling
also have
people
a
like
shit ton of
please
work
give
to
me a
do.
lot benefit of the
Funny.
doubt because I'm like
All right.
a little bit underwater. Like just give me a big benefit of the doubt.
All right,